Matthew's paper really was about what we might want to do to make ourselves, how we might ethically edit ourselves for climate change, for example. But so I'm really curious to hear where you take.
Possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering. Another example is,
you go first.
Yeah. And another example is sort of, and here I'll go first, right? You'll see that I'm the smallest person here, right? And Amy's the smallest person. So it turns out that the larger you are, think of the lifetime sort of greenhouse gas emissions that are required to sort of, the energy that's required to transport larger people rather than smaller people. Right? But if we're smaller, just by 15 centimeters, right? That's a mass, I did the math, and it's about mass reduction of 25%, which is huge. And 100 years ago, we're all on the average smaller, exactly about 15 centimeters smaller, right? So think of just the, like lifetime greenhouse gas emissions if we had smaller children. Right, and so that's something that we could do through some sort of human.
Could we, like, setting aside, should we?
Yes, setting aside, should we? Don't need to ask that question. He's just a bioethicist, after all. Matthew Lau, as he calls himself, it's the only reason he gives lip service to a robust ethical framework, as he suggests that we should genetically engineer people against their will to be meat intolerant, or give people cat-like eyes that reduce the need for lighting at night because of our carbon footprint. Or we can genetically engineer our children to be the size of cats because over the lifetime they'll have less greenhouse gas emissions. These are his suggestions. And ladies and gentlemen, yes, they sound crazy, don't they? They sound equally ludicrous as vaccine passports sounded 18 months ago. But given the right crisis, and given the appropriate amount of fear pushed out through the propaganda outlets, you can see how people would line up for these things just as they are, virtue signaling as they get their kill shots right now. And it's not just Matthew Lau who's out there saying these crazy things. No, he is walking hand in hand with Klaus Schwab and the people at the World Economic Forum, how bioengineering will change our world in the next 10 years. This is what it means when he talks about biohacking and cybernetics as part of the Great Reset, as part of this fourth industrial revolution, engineering a post-human world, where, as you can read right here, citizens vaccinated by consuming edible vaccines and plants. Well, no wonder they need control over the food supply. No wonder it's going to be illegal for you to have a garden, right? Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is their plan, and there's no one coming to save you. I'm sorry to tell you. It's going to be up to you to get the word out and for all of us to fight this right now.